In this video, we're going to discuss the mandatory upgrade in SAM from the DUNS to the UEI. Welcome. I have a question. When will the government finally make the transition in SAM from the DUNS to the UEI? Keep watching and learn everything you need to know. Let's take a look at today's agenda. We've got a lot of information to cover today, so let's get started. If you're new here or you don't know me, my name is Michael Price, and I've been helping companies for the last 35 and a half years do business with the government, focusing mainly on GSA and VA contracts, and started back in 1986. Little guy that some of you probably never heard of, Dell Computer. So I like to say that because it makes me feel good. Of course, he has no idea or remembers who I am. That's typical way rich people are. So I'm an edutainer. I enjoy making mistakes. I enjoy fixing the mistakes. I enjoy trying to help people. And I've been doing a lot of professional speaking in the voice over IP arena. Those of you that are in that arena, feel free to reach out. But I'm a poor philanthropist. I give away more than I take in. By April of 22, we will stop using the DUNS. Now, there's a lot of information here today. And before you ask, nobody's asked yet, but before you ask, the slides will be available. The last slide will give you the link for you to get them. Very simple to find, very easy, very quick, and happy to do it. By April of 22, that's what, 2 months, there will be no more DUNS as your qualifier. It'll be what's called a UEI. Now, those of you who have updated your SAM record recently will see that you already have a UEI assigned. If you remember, in order to update your SAM, you had to go to the IRS, you had to go to the Federal Support Desk, then you had to go back to SAM, then you had to wait for the IRS to clear it through the Federal Support Desk back. It was a mess. So I digress. What this presentation is going to do is take you from A to Z, the whole timeline, and I'm going to speed through a lot of it because it's on the slides. You can read it. It's ridiculous when presenters say, here, read the screen, or let me read the screen for you. It's not the way to do a presentation. This transition allows the government to streamline. That's the key. And I'm going to go through quite rapidly because you have the information in the slides when we're done. Bottom line is GSA, who, as we all know, is the landlord of the government, had to find a better way in order to make it easier for us as vendors, contractors, and 630,000 plus private entities seeking federal contracts or grants or some sort of assistance. So it all started in 1998. Hard to believe. It seems like yesterday. You had to get a DUNS number. Big deal. Everybody got a DUNS number. Then we went into the transition. It was the official identifier. That's changing. We've already said that. I'm trying to move along rapidly so I can get to questions and further explanations. How you get a UEI is entirely different. And there's going to be two avenues to do that. One of them is automatic and the other one is relatively easy. It will be unique. I've noticed in the SAM database, which is the reason like most of you are here, because we did outreach to you. And I'm happy and grateful that you've decided to join us today so that we can help you hopefully get a better revenue and make business a lot easier with the government. This is where we start the transition, and I'm going to speed through it relatively quickly. I can go back if anybody wants to see a particular slide again. We'll go from there. They started phasing out the DUNS number, which made me happy because, and let me know in the chat, how many of you keep getting phone calls from Dun & Bradstreet saying, we need to update your financial information. I stopped getting them because I told them never call me again. And that's been going on since there was a telephone. Without a UEI, you're not going to be able to do business with the government. We have a new service provider. Even though D&B is still here, the new service provider is taking over most of that, actually all of that validation of the UEIs. The new process. For those of you that do not get one automatically, and you should get one automatically if your SAM record is current with your current DUNS. You have your DUNS, that's fine. That's where you record. And Raul asked me a question earlier today when we were chatting offline. He said, well, I just did an address change. What happens? You still do your address change at D&B. And that will flow over to the new validator. I was hoping that would have been the next slide, but it wasn't. Now you have to contact two different places. Well, before the transition was complete, you had to contact two different desks. I told you before, you had to contact SAM, you had to contact the IRS, you had to contact the Federal Supply Desk, Federal Service Desk, Federal Supply, Federal Service, same thing. And then you had to wait. And if your DUNS, if your SAM record expired, like I had a client do that was, actually we were in award day for her contract. And the last thing that the government does is they check to see if your SAM record is current. Hers was expired. Took us 3 months with the award sitting on the CO's desk. This is right after that big scam thing that was going on where the Attorney General nailed the guy for diverting bank accounts a few years ago. You had to get a letter. Then it had to go to the IRS. Then it had to come back. It took her 3 months. We almost lost her award. Do not ever let your SAM expire. You usually get it 60 days. You will get a notification from SAM that it's time to update your record. Now you can go to one place to get it all done. Again, you can read most of this in the slides. I'm not going to bore you with it. I want to get to the good stuff so that we can talk about real world activities. Integrated award environment seems to be the main focus of all of the announcements that come out from GSA. And just so you know, the UEI is used not just at GSA, it's used at every government contract award going forward, especially after April of 22. I think it's April 4th is the exact date. And you can have separate UEIs based on different addresses for subsidiaries or, field offices or whichever. So it kind of confused me when I read that. Now we know who the new provider is, Ernst & Young. And when I heard that, I was just absolutely thrilled that they were doing that. But they're the ones that will be the validation provider. Even if Ernst & Young gets replaced by somebody else, it's still flows right through with no hiccups. The definition will not change. The uniqueness will not change. But why is GSA changing? That's the important thing. Predictability of cost for entity validation. Well, I remember when we had to get digital certificates to be able to get into e-offer or e-mod to do modifications. They did away with that. And all of a sudden, had I not been an official negotiator for a number of contracts, I wouldn't have been able to get into e-offer or e-mod to help any of you who said, yeah, I want to get a GSA contract, and wouldn't have been able to do it until I became a authorized negotiator. So they've made a lot of changes. Some of them they've made without thinking what the ramifications are. I guess they're saying they're introducing competitiveness. I don't know what that's going to mean. I'm guessing that Ernst & Young was the only one that jumped in and said, yeah, we can handle all this for you. But there was a tremendous burden. And anybody who has updated their SAM record recently knows that it's been a pain in the, I'll let you fill in the blank. Even if a new provider's selected, not a problem. It'll still continue. Yeah, we know that Ernst & Young won the award. The transition process is now complete. This all started back in July of 2019, based on the heading. And you still have to use your DUNS number. Once you've got a DUNS number, it will convert, not really convert, it will add, in addition, you will see your UEI and your DUNS +4 if you have it. I don't know of anybody that's ever used a DUNS +4. I don't even know what a +4 is. And I've been working with SAM since it wasn't even SAM. It was originally called, the heck was it called? PASS. Procurement Automated Source Selection, way back in the 90s. I'm going to speed through these. They developed the tools. GSA has come a long way with their tools. And we spoke a number of years ago. They wanted me to help them with e-offer after we did the beta test back in 96. And same way with SAM, but you know, they say, okay, fine, thank you. And they go off and do what they want to do anyway. And they do a lot of testing now. In fact, I'm on the alpha team for SAM moving forward. And there's a ton of stuff that's coming that's really going to be interesting. I just wish they'd implement a few of the things that we wanted done many, many years ago. Interagency blog is the one where they broadcast most of what they want. You now have the official identifier. And I've noticed that the last update, there's still quite a few, and I don't know whether those were active or inactive records, but I saw a lot of blank spots where the UEI is supposed to go. The DUNS number was there, the cage was there, but the UEI was blank. This is the part I like now. Whether you're new or registration, renewal, new, old, whatever it is, will be assigned the UEI automatically. And that works kind of nice. You won't have to make any changes. No re-entering information. When you do your renewal, most of my clients, when they do their renewal, they go in and go accept, 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 and they're done. The goal, starting back in 2016, and I'm going to speed through this part very quickly for the simple reason that who cares what happened in 2016? The FAR was changed. Yeah, we all know that. Office of Management and Budget, finally said we need a way to do whatever. Integrated award environment, IAE, started blog posting about all this, and then we're starting to get close to now. The final policy was finally approved in July. October, the RFI for vendor engagement went out, knowing that they needed a new verification. That doesn't really say much, does it? The FAR eliminated references, big deal. Final rule also established what a UEI is, the definition of it. Now we're at August of 18th. Validation services. For the most part, and the reason why I'm speeding through this is if you want to read it and digest it and move on, that's why I did the slides, and each one is in a separate slide for your perusal. I didn't realize that Ernst & Young won this contract back in March of 19. I thought it was a lot sooner than that. Federal Register notice. I don't ever remember seeing that, and I'm on that mailing list, so maybe they just decided that I didn't need to see it. But for the most part, OMB finally said, this is the way it's going to be. You're going to finalize this and you're going to get it all done by April of 22. The exact date is actually April 4th, just for those of you who want to mark your calendar. I'm not happy that they still are using D&B, but D&B has been the DUNS number for every company that's ever registered to do business commercially or in the government. So I guess we're stuck with them. And they've extended the transition period. Any questions so far? I know I sped through them, and I know that we only did half an hour, including the mistakes, and I'm checking the chats right here now. And what do I see here? Any questions at all? Well, they actually provide for us a link for you to get deeper questions than I can answer directly from the folks at Entity Validation at GSA.gov. And if you're with the press, then you can actually go to the press at GSA.gov. So from that aspect, any questions?
Michael,
Yes.
I have a question here. Hello, and thank you for the info. I think when I checked on my login.gov that I already saw this new number along with the DUNS number. So that is something that simplifies things for me, right? I mean, I don't have to do anything else.
I believe your UEI was started with a letter. I believe they're starting them all with a letter. I don't remember.
I didn't check, but I saw the initials, the UEI. I said, oh, I have this number already. So, you know,
Yes.
maybe it was already assigned. Is that it?
Because now, did you just update your SAM record, or?
I had to do it in December. December was my deadline for updating, and I did it.
Okay. Okay. And so they've automatically assigned it to you. But you're in good shape. I would make sure you. I always pull a copy of the SAM record anyway for all my clients, and at least that way you know what your UEI is, because a lot of times, you know, I mean, I have so many clients that have a lot, like the first 4 or 5 numbers of the DUNS are the same. I just memorize the last 4, so when I'm in e-offer, all I get is a list of DUNS numbers. Now they're UEIs, but DUNS numbers, and I'm thinking, which one was which one was yours? Which one was Raul's? Which one was mine? Which, I can't remember. So with the UEI, it's even worse because I have one client that begins with a Q, another one begins with an R, and those are the two I'm working active right now. But the rest of them, I don't even want to begin to think of what their UEI turns out to be when it comes time for me to do their modifications. So I believe you're in good shape. What you can do is in SAM, and I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. In SAM, you can actually go to a place. There's a link that says check status. When you click check status, just put in your, believe it or not, I don't know if they've changed it because I haven't checked it. Put your DUNS number in, and it'll tell you that you're good to go or waiting. The old way with just the DUNS, it would say waiting on the IRS, waiting on federal service desk, and then it would say you're okay. So I don't know what it's going to show now because I haven't been in there recently.
Okay, no, I saw it all okay, active, the status is active, and I saw this UEI number. I didn't pay attention to it. Then I read your email and your invite for this meeting, and I said, oh, this must have a meaning. So this means that by April, the DUNS are going to be okay, are going to be away, gone?
Well, the DUNS you need as the core, based on all the garbage, basically, I look at it garbage because it's just nothing but reading. Sit out on the patio, grab a scotch, grab a cigar, sit back and read all this stuff. Big deal. I mean, now there's more confusion than before. But the key is that the DUNS, just like a tax ID number, you have to have that before you can get a DUNS. You have to have a DUNS before you can get a UEI.
Okay.
Once it says, when you went to status and it said active, you're good to go. Just remember, don't wait till the last day again.
Of course. Yeah, but I asked because I remember these guys at DUNS, they wanted every time they would send like alerts or something about companies checking your account or whatever. And then if you wanted those reports from them, you had to pay them. I think it was like one of those tricks to get money from you. I picked a report when I was starting here in the US because I moved 15 years ago. And then I was trying to see how was the market here. And I picked a report that didn't work for me for nothing at all. The content was ridiculously empty and useless. And I gave up on that company ever since, except that I needed the number. So if all that goes away, I'm happy.
You spent $500, didn't you?
Not that much because the report was like 3 freaking pages. I was expecting a real decent report on the state of the. I'm a photographer, a commercial photographer, and a specialized vendor for those type of photo, video, audio systems. I know the business is small. The interaction with the government is limited to small agencies, galleries, museums, etc.
Right.
But I was hoping to get an update on the market. And it was pathetic, and it was listing like wedding photographers and things like that. I can't imagine wedding photographers registering for SAM, photographing weddings in the military. I don't know what did I get. It was a steal, and I swore that I decided not to ever spend any money with them.
Jorge, listen to this. Raul, stop laughing. I'm going to tell you a story, Jorge, that the company you're talking about, and I will mention their name, U.S. Federal Contractor Registration.
The old one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they're called this week. The original owner was, and by the way, I'm in Venice, Florida, which is about an hour from St. Petersburg, where they're located. And they've given my company, who is the oldest GSA VA consultant in the world, they gave us a black eye because we're in Florida, and they would charge $500 to do your SAM record.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, please tell me you never let them do it.
No, I did it myself, and I've been.
You know why? What they were doing. This is the original, and of course you got their seal of approval to put on your website too. what they were doing is they would get your credentials to go into your SAM record. And everybody that's on today's meeting, please take heed of the story I'm about to tell. And just, I think the term is run, Forrest, run. They would do your SAM record, update your SAM record for you, accept. And until when they got to the banking information, they put their banking information in.
No
And
way.
then click save. You now, and they also changed the password. You now no longer have the
Access
password
to-
to your SAM account. And every time you get paid by the government, it was going into their bank account.
They get
And
the
after
money.
a certain period of time, they would go back in and put your banking information back, and you wouldn't know the difference.
Of course.
Anybody who is here today that's in Florida
Wow.
knows who Pam Bondi was, our Attorney General. They got him. $4.1 million restitution fine.
Incredible.
And he got to visit 3 hots and a pot at the Gray Bar Hilton. They're
Incredible.
still around. They've got a number of different names, and it goes back even further to an old company called GSA Applications or Federal Verification or the other 82 company names. I got into a court battle with them and eventually helped get them shut down because they were doing $14 million a year doing SAM registrations, websites,
Incredible.
GSA application. Every time you'd say, what's the status of my application for my contract? They would say, oh, it's in pricing. Well, anybody that's here today, and there's a lot of people, I can guarantee you one thing. If I'm doing your contract and you say to me, what's the status? There is no such thing as, Raul, stop laughing. There is no such thing as a pricing division. We have this conversation right up front. So we understand exactly who's got what, and as they say, who's on first and who's on second. So you can get all of the information that they were trying to get you for right off of SAM under contract opportunities. It's free. Every day that you get them emailed.
Yep.
Raul, how many have I sent to you over the last, because I get them popping up in my email all the time as a GSA contract holder, you might be able to do this. And I just forward it off to a client that is in that arena. If it's voice over IP, I send it to Sangoma or one of the others. If it's computers, I'll send it to whoever. If it's hockey rinks or fitness equipment, I send it to Raul, and he then goes out and finds a GSA contract holder and works with them. Let me see, who's the L? Oh, Lawrence. Sorry it took so long to get to your question, Lawrence. Does the government award contracts to companies in Nigeria? I'm going to answer it in 2 pieces. Yes, and the reason why, as you said, that has a headquarters in the United States. In order for a foreign company to be able to do business with the government, you must have a U.S. bank account and a U.S. presence, whether it be an office, in your case, headquarters, and I'm assuming that you have a U.S. bank account because your headquarters is in the U.S. Hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions? Jorge, we should talk. Let me get to the last slide so you can see who you're dealing with. There you go. And that information will also be, it's on the website also, MarketUS.com, bottom left corner, everything you need to know. But more importantly, what everybody really wants, and then I can see that there's going to be a mass exodus, would be go to MarketUS.com/UEI, click on the graphic, and it'll download the slides for you.
I'll call you as soon as we finish. Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. What else we got here? What's the easiest way to filter out false contracts offers? Martin, I don't understand. Do you want to unmute yourself, Martin, and we can talk about it so that the rest of the audience can hear it? I've never seen a false contract offer. But yes, there's a way to filter everything you want. What? Do you have, can you unmute yourself, Martin, and we can talk about it? I guess he doesn't have audio. The question was, what's the easiest way to filter out false contracts offers? He says he's gotten several of them. Oh, he's trying it on his phone. Here we go. If I could find you in the list, I would tell you to unmute. Let me see if I can find you. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't have audio. You just have the video turned off. There's an audio pin. I can't remember what it is. Otherwise, I'd give it to you right away. Any other questions? Very, very informative audience today. Just curious what all right, so he'll email me. He'll email me too. Thanks for the great info. Tried to go to the website, but nothing is showing up. MarketUS.com/UEI. That's I checked it right before we started. Sorry, Amber. If you send me an email, I'll send you a personalized link back to that page. They're too big to email. Otherwise, I just email them out to everybody. So happy to help you. But it was too big. We even tried to test to email it, and it just wasn't working. So any other questions at all? Well, we're going to get done a little early. If there are no other questions, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today, and make sure you get your slides. And if you have any questions at all regarding GSA and or VA or just open market, let us know at the contact information that's in the slides, or now, Amber, that has got to be the coolest domain I've ever seen. The coolest. I'm just going to say it. Yourcomputernerds.net. You got to love it. Please visit her website. Anyway.
Thank you very much,
Let us know.
Michael.
And, yep, my pleasure. And give me about 10 or 15 minutes to get a glass of water, and give me a call, and we'll chat.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Will do.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you in our next webinar.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you soon.